everyone. Hope everyone's doing great. I hope you all had a happy new year. Welcome to the first Geek Report of 2024. To be more specific, this is January 1st through the 8th of 2024. Now, we're going to start off in TV and movie news, and we're going to talk about something that happened over the Christmas break toward the end of 2023, which was that Jonathan Majors has been fired as Kang the Conqueror in the MCU. Now, we're going to talk about what this all means for the MCU, and I'm just going to give you some of my thoughts on it. Now, a new Echo trailer has dropped. Now, this one is important because by the time you see this, Echo will have already probably dropped. But this Echo trailer officially canonizes the Daredevil Netflix series. We're going to talk about what this means not just for Echo, but also for all the other Marvel Netflix series like Punisher, Jessica Jones, and Luke Cage. In other news, the John Wick director wants to do a Star Wars film. He made some comments about wanting to do a Star Wars film. And with this coming out just as the new director for the Rey movie is being announced, I kind of wanted to talk about it and kind of give you my overall thoughts on it. And then finally, the Golden Globes premiered. You know, they premiered this Sunday, and we're going to talk about what all was going on and just give you some of my thoughts on it. I only watched about an hour of it. I don't really care about the award shows because it just seems like a lot of these award shows are just claps on the back, that sort of thing. But we're going to kind of talk about what I noticed and what I saw while I was watching it. And finally, in video game news, the day that many Call of Duty players have been waiting for has finally happened. On December 29th, 2023, Bobby Kotick officially left Activision, and Microsoft officially takes over Call of Duty. Now, I'm going to kind of give you my thoughts on this. And as many of y'all know, a lot of the problems that have been plaguing Call of Duty, a lot of gamers, including myself, have left at Bobby Kotick's feet. So I'm going to kind of talk about what needs to happen in terms of bringing Call of Duty back and what I'm seeing already in terms of what Activision and Microsoft together now are doing without Bobby Kotick kind of looking over everything. So I'm going to talk about that a little bit. Now, we're going to talk about something first off that happened toward the tail end of 2023. This happened toward the tail end of it during my Christmas break, but I did want to talk about it because it does affect the MCU. And that is that Jonathan Majors has been officially fired from the MCU. Now, as you know, he played Kang the Conqueror in Quantumania. He also played He Who Remains on the Loki TV show. He did it on season 1 and on season 2. So we're going to kind of talk about this because they were really building him up to be the next big bad, okay? He was supposed to replace Thanos as the big bad guy throughout all these Marvel and Marvel TV shows and movies, okay? But now he's been fired, and it's over some legal troubles. He found guilty of some crimes connected to domestic assault or domestic violence, I should say. And he was basically found guilty, and they let him go. A studio rep, as it sees right here, says the studio has confirmed that they are going to move forward without Majors in the MCU. Now, I kind of wanted to talk about this for a minute because this does affect what could happen with the MCU, because I do think this throws a big wrench into their plans. And I do think this is an opportunity. Okay, and I hate to say it like that, but I do believe this does provide an opportunity for the Marvel MCU to really take a good look at itself and decide where it wants to go. Now, a lot of people didn't like Quantumania. Now, I will be one to admit I did enjoy Loki season 1. I did not see season 2. He was not in Hawkeye. He was not in Miss Marvel. So, I think this really does give them an opportunity to try to find out where they want to go in terms of the MCU. Now, as we all know by now, since Endgame premiered, which was a couple years ago, the Marvel MCU has not been what it once was. You know, as soon as Endgame left, that felt like the MCU was just going down, okay? In some places, in many places actually, it's called the MCU because it seems like they're only having female characters, okay? Female superheroes. Now, look, I'm not going to get into all that, okay? But let me just say this. I think this is an opportunity for Marvel to really look at themselves and find out where they want to go with their TV shows and movies. You know, now some of their stuff has been okay. Hawkeye, Loki, even Miss Marvel. Miss Marvel was okay, but She Hulk was awful. Okay, I thought they did a real disservice to the character of She Hulk in that series. I really thought they really brought down a great character in that show. Okay, and just the fact that just what has come out about it. I've not seen She Hulk. I have no intention of seeing She Hulk at this time. But let me just say that I think they really did bring down the character of She Hulk in the series. Okay. So I do think that with that and this, they really need to take a good hard look at themselves. Now, what villains could they do to replace Kang? Well, there's a couple. First off, the most obvious one is Hydra. Now, I know people say, oh, well, Hydra was wiped out in Captain America and the Winter Soldier. Well, just because you wiped out the majority of Hydra don't mean there ain't little segments left over. Okay? You could turn Hydra into like a terrorist organization or something like that. So, yeah, like I think that they could go back to Hydra. Okay? What's that saying that Hydra does? Kill one and two will rise in its place. All right. So yeah, I think that I truly believe they could go back to Hydra. Now, another option would be the Serpent Society. Viper and the rest of the Serpent Society. All right, that's another option. They could. I think they've already shown Madripoor in um, the Falcon and the Winter Soldier, if I believe correctly. I think they have shown Madripoor. But yeah, that's another option. Madripoor and all that stuff. Another option could be AIM. We've not really heard anything about advanced idea mechanics since Iron Man 3. So that's another option that could come out. I mean, we know Justin Hammer's in jail, but like, does he stay in jail? What happens if he got out on good behavior or something? He could be rebuilding AIM to take on the next Tony Stark or the next Avengers or whatnot. I also think that we could go the Inhuman route, okay? I mean, we've not heard anything about the Inhumans since that failed TV show. That's another route we could go in terms of the Inhumans. That whole legacy there, especially with Miss Marvel, okay? Because originally Miss Marvel was meant to be an Inhuman, okay? But in the series, they kind of changed that around, but they didn't really describe what she was. So they leave the door open for her to still be an Inhuman, okay? And I know about the bracelets and all that stuff, but yeah, like Miss Marvel could be an Inhuman, and they could go that route. So there's a number of routes they could go in terms of choosing another big bad, okay? But I do think this is an opportunity for Marvel to really look at itself and decide where they want to take the story to go. It just seems like here lately, since Endgame, okay, since Endgame premiered, they've been playing everything by ear, no plan, just seeing where everything goes. I think this is an opportunity for them to stop, take a breath, and actually come up with a plan. Okay, come up with some type of cohesive plan that will say, okay, this is where the story is going to go. This is how Hawkeye, Miss Marvel, Ant-Man, all these other movies are going to play into this story. Have an overarching arc, but have like each character, do their own arc. Kind of like anime. In anime, there is an overarching story, but then you have all these little smaller arcs, okay? That's what they need to take a page out of anime's book and do that. Have this overarching arc of a story, but also have where each of these movies has their own little arc about maybe Miss Marvel does this, or or Hawkeye, the new Hawkeye does this, and that sort of thing. Another thing is they really need to get rid of the moniker of the MCU, okay? I'm not saying don't have women superheroes, but also have men superheroes at this point, okay? That whole moniker of the MCU has gotten old, it's gotten tired, it's gotten true, okay? They really need to start bringing out more heroes of the male persuasion, okay? They need to start bringing out more male heroes, okay? And really stop putting down men, okay? Because the longer that whole moniker of the MCU keeps going on, you're basically segmenting an entire part of your fan base, okay? So, yeah, that's another thing I think that needs to happen. But as you can see on the screen, Jonathan Majors has been fired as Kang the Conqueror. He also played as He Who Remains on the Loki TV show. And just kind of put a bow on this, I do think this is an opportunity for Marvel to really look at themselves and really ask themselves where they want this story to go. Where do they want these movies and these shows to go from this point on? I think this is an opportunity for them to do that. And I really do hope they take this opportunity to really look at themselves and say, okay, we want to go this direction or that direction. But yeah, to kind of put a bow on everything, Jonathan Majors is officially out of the MCU. Now, this past week, a new trailer dropped for Echo. Now, by the time you see this, the entire series will have dropped, all 5 episodes. But I want to talk about this trailer because I do think this trailer is very, very important to not just the future of the MCU, but also to the past. And I'm talking in particular about the old Netflix Marvel series. Now, in this trailer, they do officially canonize the Marvel Daredevil Netflix series, okay? And I'm going to kind of talk about what I'm seeing on here and also what it can mean for the MCU in terms of, Marvel and Jessica Jones and all that stuff.
When I was a boy, I had to choose a path, or fate would choose for me. I've hurt people, and I'm...
Now, what you just saw there was some scenes from the original Netflix series Daredevil, and it talked about the origin of the Kingpin. I thought in the original Netflix series Daredevil, they did the origin of the Kingpin really good. I thought Vincent D'Onofrio did an incredible job as the Kingpin. Okay, it really brought out what made the Kingpin Kingpin. Okay, it brought out that darkness of the Kingpin, where it came from, all that. So yeah, I completely loved Vincent D'Onofrio's version of the Kingpin, and he's playing the Kingpin again in Echo as well.
Going to hurt more. I'm asking for you.
Now that right there is the original Daredevil Netflix suit right there. Now, I've not seen She-Hulk, but from what I understand, he had a new suit in She-Hulk. So I don't know if for Echo he's going back to the old suit, if he's going to have a new suit built and it's going to look just like the Netflix stuff. I don't know what that's all about, but this is definitely from the original Netflix show Daredevil. This is the original suit.
For what I'm about to do. Savages. Gang wars. This city crumbles. Maya. We are the only ones we can trust.
Now, this scene right here is from Echo, or I should say from Hawkeye. At the end of Hawkeye, Echo shot Kingpin, okay? Because she found out that Kingpin had betrayed her family, okay? So she shot him. Now, we know he's coming back for Echo, okay? But Kingpin does not like betrayal, okay? He thinks that, betrayal is unforgivable. And he's going to probably feel like Maya betrayed him. But still, this is from the end of Hawkeye when Echo did shoot Kingpin.
Betrayal. That's not something that I can forgive. Nothing about This brings me joy. You brought this on yourself.
I love the fact that she is deaf and that she has to use sign language. I love that fact. I think that there ain't that really very many superheroes who are deaf. So I'm completely down with that.
It hurts me. But I have to kill you. Marvel Studios Echo.
So that was the trailer for Echo. All episodes are going to be dropping on January 9th. It's only going to be a 5-episode series. So let me just kind of give you some of my thoughts on this. First off, the fact that they have officially canonized Daredevil, I think really opens the door for Jessica Jones and Luke Cage and Iron Fist and Punisher and Daughters of the Dragon. If you don't know that, Daughters of the Dragon was a planned Netflix series, but that kind of went under when everything started going over to Disney Plus. Okay. So, yeah, I think that they very well could begin canonizing Jessica Jones and Luke Cage and Iron Fist and Elektra, Daughters of the Dragon, the Defenders, all that. Okay. And the best way to do it would be to use the snap. If you remember back during the original Infinity War saga, Thanos did the snap and everyone was wiped out for, I think, 5 years. Okay, half the universe was wiped out for 5 years. They could set it up to where that happened and the majority of the Defenders were wiped out. Or maybe not even the majority of them. Have like Daredevil and Iron Fist surviving, but Luke Cage and Jessica Jones being snapped out. And then when they were brought back, when the snap was reversed, they were brought back and they've been rebuilding their lives ever since. Okay. So, yeah, I do think they could do that. It's just what my main fear is this, is that in this show, they're going to basically make Daredevil weak. Okay. That this whole trailer was nothing more than member berries. I mean, I think like 50% of this trailer is stuff from the old Daredevil Netflix series. That makes me worried. That they are just using Daredevil, the original Netflix series Daredevil, to get us to watch Echo, okay? To get us to watch the Marvel Cinematic Universe again. Because they know the Daredevil stuff was great. They know Jessica Jones and Luke Cage and all that stuff was great, but they're using that to try and make this great, and it ain't going to work, okay? Echo's got to walk on her own 2 feet. She can't use what's been done before to really use that as a crutch. She's got to be able to walk on her own 2 feet. Now, the character Echo in Hawkeye Season 1 was a good character, okay? She had a great arc about finding out what the Kingpin did, finding Hawkeye, finding Ronin, all that, okay? But just the fact that over half of this trailer is stuff from the Netflix series gives me pause that they're just using the Netflix stuff as nothing more than nostalgia, as member berries. Basically putting it in front of us saying, oh, look, we're bringing back the old Netflix stuff. And then we watch it and we find out it is nothing like the Netflix stuff. It's more akin to the She-Hulk stuff. Okay? I mean, from what I understand in She-Hulk, Daredevil had a completely different costume. And I just don't know if that's what they're going to do. Are they going to set it up to where it's going to be just like Daredevil from Netflix, or are they going to make it to where it's Daredevil from She-Hulk? Okay? I want Daredevil from Netflix. I thought the Netflix series was a great series. Honestly, I thought the weakest of them all was Iron Fist. I really thought Iron Fist was the weakest of them all. And if they can canonize Daredevil, they can canonize the rest of it. And I really do hope that is what they do. I really do hope they start bringing all these Marvel shows, Punisher, Jessica Jones, Daredevil, Iron Fist, Luke Cage. I really do hope they start bringing them to Disney Plus, or at least to Hulu, okay? I mean, Disney Plus has got this reputation of being kids only. You know what I'm saying? A kids-friendly area. I mean, there is a few things that are kind of hardcore, but like it's a kids friendly area, whereas Hulu is more tailored to adults. Okay, so I really am hoping that maybe if they can't bring it to Disney Plus, they bring it to Hulu. But there is a lot of stuff going on behind the scenes in terms of like Disney Plus perhaps buying Hulu. And if they did that, they could just transfer everything over to Hulu and really lose that whole kids only moniker that Disney Plus has. And I really do hope that maybe this will wipe the taste of the, I don't know how else to say it, but the weakened Daredevil from our mouths that was in She-Hulk. Okay? That we can finally get back to the hardcore Daredevil character. We can get back to the hardcore Elektra. And perhaps even start canonizing some of these Marvel Netflix shows that we all love. Okay? Even Iron Fist. I enjoyed Iron Fist. Was it the weakest of them all? Yes. But I still enjoyed it. I would love to see Stick back. And plus they've got a new Daredevil series coming out called Daredevil Born Again. So we could be dealing with that again. This could be their opportunity to make Daredevil, I hate to say it like this, make Daredevil great again. Okay? Make Marvel great again. Okay? Really add a hardcore element to the Marvel Cinematic Universe that, to be quite frankly, has been mainly kid-friendly. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, that was the Echo trailer. All the episodes are dropping on January 9th. So by the time you see this, all the episodes will have dropped. Does it make me want to get Disney Plus? No. I mean, I love Daredevil. I love the Daredevil Netflix stuff. I loved all the Defender stuff. But it doesn't make me want to go up and get Disney Plus because I've been burned too many times. I've been thinking, okay, they're finally going to give us a great show with characters that we know, and it only turned out to be complete garbage. Okay? And with everything going on behind the scenes of Disney, with the Nelson Peltz stuff and just all the stuff that's going on behind the scenes, I'm going to wait a little bit before I even consider getting Disney Plus. Because I do think that until there is a massive change of leadership at Disney Plus, at Disney in general, until there is an actual massive change of leadership at Disney, I just don't know what to expect. I don't know whether or not to trust them again or not. But yeah, just, without even talking about getting it, just based on this, I'm hoping that they are going to give us the Netflix Daredevil that we remember and not the She-Hulk one that we got. That's kind of what I'm hoping for, and that's kind of what I'm praying that we get, because I think a lot of us fans felt burned by the She-Hulk Daredevil, by She-Hulk in general. I think they really did a disservice to the character with the She-Hulk show. And I really think that they really need to get back on track with Daredevil and really make a hardcore Daredevil like they had in the Netflix show. And maybe this is their first step towards doing that. So now let me talk about something that's kind of happened over the past couple of days. Now, I know many of y'all know the John Wick series. I love the John Wick series. I think the John Wick series is a great movie that blends action and just all this other stuff, whether you're talking about the actual John Wick films or the spin-off series, The Continental. And I think that's probably going to continue with the other spin-off stuff that comes along. I know there's like another movie is supposed to happen and all that stuff. Well, over the past couple of days, he has made some statements that I think are very interesting. All right, and this is one of the statements he made, that he would like to take a swing at Star Wars. Now, I think this is very important because just recently they announced that this woman, Charmin Obey-Troy, who, and I'm probably butchering that name, and I do apologize for butchering it, but the only thing I know her from is Miss Marvel. Miss Marvel was okay. I will full on admit, Miss Marvel was an okay TV series. Okay, it could have been better, but it was an okay TV series. All right, I didn't watch it on Disney Plus. I watched it when it came on ABC. All right. But why are they getting this woman for a film we don't want to see? We don't want to see any more Rey, okay? We are tired of Rey, okay? I'm sorry for all the Rey fans out there. I know y'all gonna call me a hater or whatnot, but I did not like Rey's story. I don't blame Daisy for it. I blame the directors and writers behind it. They butchered Rey's story. Rey's story could have been so much better, but they butchered it, okay? And I don't think it was Daisy's fault. I think Daisy could be a great actress if she was given the right material. But instead, they went and they butchered it. Why are they getting this woman to do a film we don't want to see instead of getting this guy right here, who is known for giving us high-class action, for turning a story about a guy who got his dog killed and his car stolen into a revenge story that morphed into a underground world of assassins and, you know, all this other stuff. Why are they not beating down this guy's door saying, hey, what do we need to do to make this work? What do we need to do to make this work where we can give you whatever you want to make a Star Wars film? Could you imagine what he could do with a Star Wars film? Could you imagine if John Wick and Star Wars had a baby? That's probably what it would be like. Could you imagine what he could do with it? Give him any era. The Old Republic, the era between then and New Republic, the prequel trilogy, the Civil War, the Galactic Civil War, post-Galactic Civil War, all that. Give him any era and literally let him do his thing, okay? And I just don't understand why they haven't done that yet. I literally don't understand why they haven't done that yet, okay? I mean, I know he says in this statement, and we're going to go down here, he says right here, I'm a Star Wars guy. Like the very first Star Wars changed my life. Maybe someday out there, Disney, if you're listening, hit me up in a couple years, and I'll have a couple of takes for Star Wars. I take a swing at that. I challenge you. See if Disney could survive me, he added. Let me tell you something, okay? Why are you not knocking down this guy's door saying, hey, what do we need to do to make this happen? What do we need to do to make this happen? If he needs a couple of years to finish John Wick and Ballerina, I think it's what the new John Wick movie spinoff is going to be called. I think it's called Ballerina. If he needs a couple of years to finish that, fine. But why ain't you knocking down this guy's door instead of going over here and getting a woman who did one series with y'all and the rest of the stuff is stuff I've never even heard of? Okay, and the Miss Marvel series was an okay series, whereas John Wick has brought in millions of dollars. I heard one report that the John Wick films saved the movie industry one year. I think it was in 2022. I believe that's why I saw that. Okay, why ain't you knocking down this guy's door? Why ain't you talking to this guy? If you've not started talking to this guy by now, you need to. Okay? And I know a lot of people saying, oh, well, you know, you're just a John Wick lover. You don't understand the whole Rey stuff. Yes, I do understand it. Okay? First off, they butchered Rey's story. Rey's story could have been so much more. But instead, they made her a child of Palpatine, where she takes the Skywalker name and just all this convoluted stuff. Okay, whereas she's like a clone of a child. I mean, it's all convoluted. And they didn't give her a good growth arc. I mean, in The Last Jedi, they set it up to where she could lift like 20 tons of rocks. Whereas if in the same situation in The Empire Strikes Back, Luke barely held his own against Darth Vader. Okay? He barely survived his encounter with Darth Vader. He lost a hand to Darth Vader. Okay? So, honestly, y'all gave Rey all the skills, everything she needed right off the bat, whereas Luke had to literally earn his skills through blood. Okay? He had to lose a hand to the Sith Lord in Empire Strikes Back, whereas in The Last Jedi and The Rise of Skywalker, she suddenly can do all this incredible stuff without having hardly any training with Luke. Now, in The Rise of Skywalker, I will admit that she probably did read some of the books that Luke left her and all that. I get that. Okay, I will give them that. But still, she had no formal training. Okay, whereas Luke had a little training, and still he was barely able to hold his own against Darth Vader. Whereas in The Rise of Skywalker, she suddenly can just lift 20 tons of rocks. Okay, there's that last scene where she does that gets on my nerves because it completely destroys her arc. Okay, I think from that moment on, Rey's arc was done. And I think in Rise of Skywalker, they did not know what to do next with her. So that's why they did the whole like Palpatine's clone child thing and where she takes the Skywalker name and all that. Okay. I full on believe that. I full on understand that and full on believe that. It still doesn't change the fact that they butchered her story. They butchered her story, in my opinion. Her story could have been so much better. All right. But my question is, why ain't they knocking down this guy's door? Why ain't they knocking down Chad Stahelski's door right now saying, hey, what do we need to do to make it so you can do a Star Wars film? What do we need to do? Okay? And with in the past, I've heard that directors would kill to have Star Wars. Then the sequel trilogy happens, and it's like the directors want nothing to do with Star Wars. Okay? Want nothing to do with it. So my question is, why ain't they knocking down this guy's door instead of getting this woman right here, this Sharmeen Aubin-Troy's, whatever her name is, okay? Why are they knocking her door down when she done one series, which was Miss Marvel, and I think it was like 6 episodes, and it was an okay series, but this guy right here took a story about a guy losing his dog and car in a robbery and turned it into this big old revenge story that has spanned 4 films, possibly a 5th coming up. Okay? Why ain't you knocking down this guy's door? Could you imagine what he could do with Star Wars? I mean, could you imagine what he could bring to the table? I mean, could you imagine what he could do with any character, original or from the old Legends universe, or a current canonized characters? Okay? Could you imagine what he could do? He could kick butt with this saga. So why ain't you knocking down this guy's door? It just don't make any sense to me. It literally don't make any sense to me. And the only reason I think that is what's happening is because this woman, this Sharmeen Aubin-Troy, and I know I'm butchering that name, okay? I apologize to the woman. I really do. But I think that the only reason they haven't started knocking down his door is because he doesn't check the boxes that Disney wants to check. I think this is a perfect example of them checking boxes. And I just don't understand why they ain't knocking down his door. Okay? I mean, why ain't you talking to him saying, hey, look, we understand you've got some things you've got to do. What do we need to do to start getting your Star Wars movie going? Okay? What do you want from us? Okay? Because at this point, directors are not wanting anything to do with Star Wars because of all the drama that's going behind the scenes. And I think this is another example of there needing to be some serious changes of leadership at Disney. On Marvel, on Disney, on Lucasfilm, on Pixar, across the board. There needs to be some serious changes at Disney. Okay? And I'm really hoping that this whole Nelson Peltz proxy fight that's going on with Ike Perlmutter and probably some others, but those are the 2 names I remember. I heard that Ike Perlmutter is getting involved in it, and I believe George Lucas is as well, which he has every right to. I mean, Disney is basically destroying his legacy, okay? But, I'm really hoping that this proxy fight ends with some type of improvement, with some type of leadership change at Disney. Because if something doesn't happen soon, no one's going to want Star Wars. And the more I think about it, the more I have to wonder, is maybe that what they want? Think about it for a second. If no one touches Star Wars, right, that gives them free reign to remake it however the heck they want. Okay, if Kathleen Kennedy keeps putting her hand in the cookie jar and making things worse, personally, I think she had a hand in what happened with Ahsoka in Mandalorian season 3, and I just have to wonder if maybe that's her whole overall plan. That instead of having the original trilogy the way it is, that she's going to make Star Wars so beaten down that she's going to come up with a plan to remake the saga entirely, remake it entirely however she wants, okay? And that at one point they're going to say, okay, go ahead, if there ain't no leadership change. If there's a leadership change, I don't think that's going to happen. But if there ain't a leadership change, I think she's just going to keep on making things worse, and until such point as she has an opening to literally remake the entire saga, from the prequel trilogy to the new trilogy. Just remake the entire thing, okay? And I think that's what she wants. So that way she could push George Lucas away from his legacy and make a legacy on her own. When in fact it ain't on her own. She's basically destroying another man's legacy for her own benefit, okay? And I did not see South Park Into the Panaverse. I saw scenes of it. They basically laid everything that's happened with Star Wars and Marvel at her feet, and they have every right to, okay? Every fan, a lot of us fans, not every fan, but a lot of us fans know what she has done. And we're at the point where it's like, you know what, there needs to be changes at Disney. And I really hope that this whole proxy fight that's going on behind the scenes, I mean, really the only reason I've not gotten Hulu and Disney back is because of this proxy fight. If this proxy fight comes out positive, where Nelson Peltz takes control of Disney, basically kicks Bob Iger to the curb, kicks Kathleen Kennedy out, and starts bringing in people who know what the heck they're doing, then I'm going to get back Hulu and Disney just to see what's going on. But until at least there is some kind of decent leadership change, I'm not paying for Disney Plus or Hulu. Now, if a family member has it and they offer the password to me, I'm going to take it. Absolutely. But until there is an actual leadership change at Disney, I am not paying for Hulu or Disney Plus. I won't do it. But back to what I was saying, I just don't understand why they're not knocking down this guy's door. Why they ain't knocking down his door saying, hey, you want to do a Star Wars film? You did John Wick. Can you bring that same energy to Star Wars? Why can't they do that? I mean, literally, why won't they do that? Instead of calling on this guy who wants to do a Star Wars film, instead, if I can get her back up here, they call on Shaman Abin Chinoy to do a Star Wars film. A Star Wars film that no one wants to see, that no one cares about seeing. Okay? I mean, look, it says it right here. Activism. We don't want activist directors. We want directors who are going to tell a story. And from what I understand, Chad Stasinski is not an activist. He just tells a good story. From what I've seen of him in the John Wick films, from the way he directs things, he tells a good story. Okay? And I really enjoyed the John Wick films. Okay? I have not seen number 4 yet. I want to. I've seen 1, 2, and 3. Okay? So, yeah, I just don't understand why they ain't knocking down this guy's door saying, hey, what do we need to give you to get a Star Wars movie going? Why ain't they knocking down Patty Jenkins' door saying, hey, look, we know Rogue Squadron fell apart. What do we need to do to give you your Star Wars series? To give you Rogue Squadron back? Okay? And the only thing I can think of is they're not activist enough for Disney. All right? And I think until there is some real leadership change at Disney, they're just going to keep on doing the same thing over and over again and ruining these sagas until something gives. So that's why I'm really hoping that this whole Nelson Peltz proxy fight that's going on with Ike Perlmutter, and I think George Lucas, I might be wrong about that, but I think George Lucas is involved in it as well. I really do hope it does cause substantial changes in Disney. Because if something doesn't change soon, Star Wars and Marvel by extension are going to be dead. And they're going to be dying at the altar of wokeness. I mean, that's just a fact. So now, in our final bit of TV and movie news, I did want to talk about something that happened just as I recorded this, and it kind of caused me to push everything back a little bit. But the Golden Globes premiered. Now, we're going to talk about some of the winners. I'm just going to give you some of my thoughts on it. I only watched about an hour of it, but I am going to talk about just some of my overall thoughts of the Golden Globes and what I thought about it. But anyway, this is the winners list for the Golden Globes. And let's see here. And we're going to continue reading down here. And so first off, Best Motion Picture for Drama, Oppenheimer won. And it beat out all these. For a musical or comedy, it was Poor Things, which I've never heard of. For Best Motion Picture Animated, Boy and the Heron won. And it beat out Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. It beat out Super Mario Brothers. It beat out Suzumi and Wish. Now, I'm glad it beat out Wish, because I heard Wish was complete and utter garbage. It says here, cinematic and box office achievement, Barbie won. It beat out all of them. Best motion picture for non-English language, which was Anatomy of the Fall. Let's see, Cillian Murphy won for Oppenheimer in the best performance by a male actor. Best performance by a female actor was Lily Gladstone, Killers of a Flower Moon. And have you noticed something on a lot of these nominees? I'm seeing a lot of foreign films get nominated this year, actually pushing out a lot of the American films. So kind of keep that in mind. I'm going to talk about that here in a little bit. Here's another best performance by a female actor in a motion picture, musical, or comedy. Poor Things won. That's mostly American films right there. Best performance by a male actor in a musical, which was Paul Giamatti in The Holdovers. Best performance by a male actor in a supporting role, that was Oppenheimer by Robert Downey Jr. Best performance by a female actor in a supporting role, which was Divine, but for The Holdovers. Best director for motion picture, it was Christopher Nolan in Oppenheimer. Oppenheimer deserves everything it gets. Oppenheimer, from what I understand, is a great film. I've not seen it yet. I'm going to wait till it comes on streaming before I see it. It says best screenplay was An Anatomy of a Fall. I can't understand how it beat Oppenheimer in that, though. I really can't understand how it beat Oppenheimer in that. I mean, I can understand Barbie or maybe Poor Things, but Oppenheimer, Anyway, best original song, it was What I Was I Made For from the Barbie music. Best original score, which was Oppenheimer. I'm glad it won out on that. Best television series was Succession. It beat out The Last of Us. It beat out The Crown, 1923. Best television series was The Bear. This is for musical or comedy. Best television series, limited series, anthology was Beef on Netflix. Best performance by a female actor in a television series was Sarah Snook in Succession. Best performance by a male actor in a television series was Kieran Culkin in Succession. Best performance by a female actor in a television series, musical or comedy, The Bear with, I'm probably going to butcher this, Ayodo Debris. I'm probably butcher that. Most of these I know, but I've never seen them. I haven't seen Poker Face or Only Murders in the Building. Best performance by a male actor in a television series, musical or comedy, that would be Jeremy White in The Bear. Best performance by a female actor in a limited series, Ali Wong for Beef. Best performance by a male actor in a limited series was Stephen Yeun for Beef. Now, Stephen Yeun's a good character. I first saw him on The Walking Dead. I think he's a great actor. I think he deserved that. I've not seen Beef, so I can't really sit there and say, yeah, he deserved it or not. But yeah, I mean, I'm glad he won because he is a good actor, at least from what I've seen on The Walking Dead. It said best performance by a female actor in a supporting role. That would be Elizabeth Debicki, The Crown. I've never seen The Crown. Best performance by a male actor in a supporting role. We got Matthew McFadden, Succession. Never seen Succession, so I can't really say. Best performance in a stand-up comedy on television. Ricky Gervais in Armageddon. Absolutely love the fact that was what won. Ricky Gervais is beating out everyone else, especially after Hollywood tried to cancel him. You know, but there's something I want to talk about that. You know, there was something that happened during the announcement for this winner that I kind of want to talk about. And that's it. Look, I'll be honest with you. I only watched an hour of this. I only watched about an hour of the Golden Globes. And it felt more of the same, like Hollywood patting themselves on the back for no good reason. I mean, the majority of a lot of these categories were foreign films actually outdoing American films, because even people who are overseas are tired of the garbage Hollywood's putting out. But I also noticed that with everything going on with the list, you know, if you know what I'm talking about, you know what I'm talking about. The list, the files, whatever you want to call them, being released. I really felt that these presenters were really being forced to tiptoe around things. That they were basically given their marching orders to not talk about certain things. I heard one joke. About it. And it was for best performance in a stand-up comedy, okay? It was for best performance stand-up, where the performer, I can't think of his name, where the guy who was presenting it basically made a joke about the list, you know, and it was probably the funniest joke I heard, because he was talking about how he was from Indiana, not from Hollywood, and he was basically calling a bunch of people in Hollywood certain names and stuff, and I thought it was funny. You know, for once, they were allowing him to be funny, but for the rest of the night, it was all just bad jokes, and it felt like all the presenters were tiptoeing around what was being released. Okay, that's literally what it felt like. All the presenters were basically being told, don't talk about A, B, C, and D. Okay. And not just the list, but what's going on in the Middle East and all this other stuff. I really felt that all the presenters and the hosts and everyone were probably given their marching orders, basically saying, you will not talk about A, B, C, or D. Okay. And I think that one guy, I can't think of his name, but when he made that joke, he's probably going to get blackballed by Hollywood. I can already see it, you know. But, yeah, I'm glad Ricky Gervais won that. You know, he deserves it. You know, they tried to burn him, and he's like, no, forget you guys, you know. But, yeah, I felt that the Golden Globes were boring, you know. I mean, the presenters felt like they were tiptoeing around certain items, certain subjects that were going on that we all know was going on, but no one wants to talk about, you know, and it just felt like more patting on the back for no good reason, you know. But still, this past week, the Golden Globes happened. That was your winners list. And most of the movies on there I have not seen, and nor do I want to see. I want to see Oppenheimer. I will flat out admit it. I want to see Oppenheimer. But another thing that I did notice, and this is just a small thing, is that I've always believed that the big time award shows like the Golden Globes, like the Academy of Movies and all that stuff, you know, the Oscars, have always been against genre programming like Star Wars and Star Trek and even The Last of Us. The Last of Us, I think, got one nomination. One. Now, look, am I saying it deserved a nomination in every single category? No, I'm not saying that one single bit. What I am saying is that the Oscars and the Golden Globes have a history of not nominating decent genre programming until they need to. The last time I remember them nominating anything that I watched was the Batman saga after Heath Ledger died. Okay. And that felt like they were forced to because they had to acknowledge what happened. Okay. They have a history, them and the Oscars, of not nominating shows the majority of us watch. Okay. Science fiction, fantasy, those type of shows. And it almost feels like the Golden Globes and the Oscars have a distinction between what is art and what is entertainment. And they'll nominate art, but not entertainment. To me, it's all movies. Okay, that's just a feeling I get. But this year, it really felt like the presenters were tiptoeing around certain subjects, like they were being forced to tiptoe around certain things, that they shouldn't talk about certain things. And that one presenter who did the presenting for best comedy special, the one that Ricky Gervais won, I think he's going to get in trouble for what he said. But I'm glad he said it. I'm glad he at least acknowledged it. You know what I'm saying? The rest of these presenters, from what I saw, I only saw about an hour of it. But from what I saw, they were tiptoeing around it all the night long. And I personally think they got their marching orders to it. But the Golden Globes did happen. It happened on Sunday night. And really, I don't care. You know what I'm saying? I don't care about any of these, except maybe Oppenheimer. I want to see Oppenheimer. I heard Oppenheimer's a really good film. But as for the rest of these, like Succession, I've not seen them. I don't really care. And I don't really care at all. You know what I'm saying? It just felt like more of Hollywood patting itself on the back for no good reason. That's literally what it felt like. So I want to shift my focus to gaming news now. Okay. And we got a last bit of news as 2023 was ending. And when this news hit, Call of Duty fans across the world rejoiced. Okay. If there could be a scene like at the end of Return of the Jedi where you saw tons of Call of Duty fans just rejoicing at what happened, it would be like that. Okay. It would be like that. Okay. And that is that after, I think, 30 years, 10, 30 years, something like that, Bobby Kotick has finally left Activision. He is out. Okay. So all the microtransactions, all the pay-to-win mechanics, all the mistakes that have been happening over 30 years at Call of Duty, all the mistakes that happened, just all of his controversies about wanting to make games more profitable and less fun and all that stuff were on him. Okay. Now, that's just not, take Infinity Ward out of the equation because they had a hand in it too. But I put the majority of it at his feet. Okay. I really do. He is the Kathleen Kennedy of Call of Duty. Okay. The only difference being is that they had different reasons. She wants the message put out. He wants profit. That's basically what it is. And it says here from Variety, Bobby Kotick is officially leaving Activision on December 29th after more than 3 decades as CEO of the gaming giant. And this is following Microsoft's billion-dollar takeover of the company. And they have appointed Matt Booty, president of game content and studios, to oversee the Activision Blizzard teams. So this means not only will they get control over Call of Duty, they'll get control over Overwatch, StarCraft, anything under the Activision banner, they'll get control over. So he is out, okay? And it said here that Microsoft Gaming CEO Phil Spencer announced Booty's appointment and other management changes in a memo set Wednesday. Activision Blizzard confirmed the news. Per Spencer, the execs leading Activision Publishing, Blizzard, and King will remain in place with no changes to the structure of how the studios and business units are run, at least for right now. I personally think there is going to be some massive changes happening. Okay? I think Phil Spencer and Matt Booty, when they get in there, and this happened on December 29th. It's now January 8th as I'm recording this. When they get in there and they find out what's going on, what's going right, what's going wrong with Call of Duty and everything, they're going to make some major changes. They have to. Okay? Joe Seacott's got to go. All that. Okay? They're going to make some pretty massive changes. And I would not be surprised if they just flat out shut down studios just because of the way they're performing. But let me just kind of give you my perspective on this. To Matt Booty, Phil Spencer, who's ever running Call of Duty, who's ever in charge of Call of Duty, okay? I understand you've got Call of Duty Gulf War coming out this year, and next year you've got what's supposed to be a sequel to Call of Duty Black Ops 2. I'm okay with you coming out with Call of Duty Gulf War. I really am. But after that, you need to take a year break. Okay, I think that's one of the first things you need to do is you need to take a 1-year break from Call of Duty. Kind of let all the studios breathe, get their collective selves together, and find out what direction you want to take Call of Duty. Okay, find out what direction you really want to take Call of Duty. Now, that would mean basically pushing back the Black Ops 2 sequel. I'm okay with that. I'm okay with pushing it back 1 year just so these studios can collect themselves and breathe and be like, okay, we need to do this, because this is not earning us fans. Okay? And I know a lot of people are going to disagree with that. They're going to want a new Call of Duty every year. That ain't working. By the time you get the first Call of Duty working, the new one comes out. And it comes out broken because the groups were all rushing to get it out. And then by the time you get that one working, a new one comes out. I mean, it's the same cycle every year. Okay, and it needs to stop. Assassin's Creed did this, and when Assassin's Creed did this, the quality of their games went down. Okay? The quality of the games went down. But when they stopped doing the yearly cycle, the quality of the games went up because it gave the developers more time to work on these games, to actually add content to these games, to actually add things that the players wanted to these games. And maybe it wasn't a success every single time, but the majority of the time it was a success. But look, that's the first thing that needs to happen. I would be all for them pushing back Black Ops 2 sequel, whatever you're going to call it, Call of Duty Black Ops 2025. I'm all for them pushing it back a year. I am all for that. Okay? If you want to bring out Gulf War this year, go ahead. Okay? I mean, I don't know how far along you are in terms of building it, but yeah. But after that, you need to start taking a year break. Okay? Secondly, you need to minimize the microtransactions. Bring back things as they were during the Modern Warfare days, where you can earn as much as you can buy. Okay? I remember, let's see, it was Modern Warfare 2019. I spent 2 weeks trying to do these challenges to earn certain banners. My favorite banner was a banner that had a bunch of B-52s. Well, no, it wasn't B-52s. It was a bunch of drones that looked like B-52s flying on a banner. Have as much stuff to earn as you do buying in the shop. And start lowering the prices in the shop. It seems like every time a new Call of Duty comes out, the prices of these bundles grow in the shop. Lower the prices, okay? I'm sorry, but there is no way a bundle should cost $30 unless it has a game to it. Now, I will say this. One time, let's see, was it Modern Warfare 2019 or Gulf War 1? I can't remember which one. I bought a $30 bundle because it had Modern Warfare 2, the original remastered campaign with it. Okay? That was the only reason why I bought that, was because of the campaign remastered. All right. And you know what? They need to redo the shop. If you're going to have a shop, okay, redo the shop to where we don't have to buy bundles. We can select what we want to buy. Fortnite does that. They have the bundles, and then they have like the axes and stuff where you can buy individually and create your own setup. All right. Do like that. And finally, quit with the cheap anime skins. Okay, if you're going to have bundles and skins, keep them for the game, okay? Just recently, they came out with a a la carte skin that took you completely out of the game, okay? At least it did for me. All right, but like Rambo and Terminator, I can understand those. I can understand John McClane, all right? But having like anime skins in Call of Duty, I mean, it just takes you out of the game. It's goofy. It's stupid. And you've got to decide what you want to be. What you want Call of Duty to be. Do you want Call of Duty to be a little bit serious and actually keep you immersed in the story and the world of Call of Duty, even when you're playing like DMZ or zombies or whatnot? Or do you want to be goofy and just don't give a crap? If you don't give a crap, you're going to lose a lot of fans, and people are just going to start walking away from it and go over to Fortnite, which does it better. And finally, this is the big one. This is the big one for me. Remove skill-based matchmaking. Okay? There are times where you want to be sweaty. Okay? No doubt about it. There are times where people want to be sweaty about playing. There are going to be times where you want to be sweaty. But there are going to be times where you don't want to be sweaty, where you just want to log in and grind some gear, where you just want to log in and have fun with your friends, where you don't care about being sweaty. Bring back ping is king, okay? Make the way you matchmake things and have two playlists. Have one that's ranked and one that's casual. The casual playlist is ping is king. The ranked playlist is skill-based matchmaking, and make it say that, okay? Sit there and say, hey, in casual playlist, we are doing ping is king. But over here in ranked, it is skill-based matchmaking. And choose which one you want. At least give us the option. Don't sit there and ram skill-based matchmaking down our throats, okay? If you're going to do skill-based matchmaking, put it in a ranked playlist. Do not put it in a casual or a general playlist, okay? Because there are times where we want to be sweaty and at times where we just want to have fun. And when you sit there and you ram it down our throats and you make every match out to be an esports event, it takes the fun out of it, okay? That's the whole point of playing Call of Duty, is to have a little fun. And just another point, okay? Make better campaigns, all right? Make the campaigns longer. Okay, there is no sense in having a campaign that lasts 5 hours. I think the last one, Modern Warfare 3 and Modern Warfare 2, had a campaign that lasted maybe 5 hours, 6, 7 hours, something like that. If you're going to have a campaign in a game, it should last 10 hours minimum. First playthrough on easy mode. It should last 10 hours minimum, okay? It should last 10 hours minimum. I know a lot of people say, oh, we don't care about the campaign. We care about multiplayer. Fine. But there are some of us who love the Call of Duty campaigns. Some of my best and favorite memories from Call of Duty were in the campaigns of the original Modern Warfare series and the original Black Ops series. If you're going to put a campaign in a game, let it last more than 5 hours. Don't sit there and let it last for 5 hours and have maybe 3 or 4 maps, okay? I don't care what you get with it after the campaign is over. If the campaign is too short and it doesn't have a good story, then what's the point of having it even in there, okay? If you're going to put a campaign in there, let it last longer than 5 hours. Make it more along the lines of 7 to 10 hours. Because some of the best games that have come out recently, like Elden Ring and Skyrim and the rest of them, had these huge campaigns. So make the campaigns longer than 5 hours, okay? Make the campaigns longer than 5 hours and make them worth playing. And if they're worth playing, then we're going to play the multiplayer. It's just that simple. But back to what I was saying before I kind of get off on my rant here. Bobby Kotick is out as Activision. He is done. And they have brought in a guy named Matt Booty, I think is what his name is. Matt Booty, to oversee Activision and Blizzard. That means he's going to get control over Call of Duty. He's going to get control over Overwatch. And while he says there ain't going to be no managerial changes, I don't think that's going to happen. I think that over the next year, there's going to be some pretty massive changes at Activision and Blizzard. And I'm kind of hoping that this will be the beginning of bringing Call of Duty back to what it once was. A great gaming franchise for everyone. Truly a great gaming franchise instead of a casino for everyone. That's what I'm really hoping about Call of Duty. So before I close out on this week's Geek Report, I wanted to talk about what's going on with my channel. So basically, what's going on is starting this year, I am going to start upgrading some of my tech. As you see behind me, I have started doing some upgrades. I got a green screen that I am going to be using as a backdrop, but I cannot really utilize it right now because of the simple fact that what's going on is my Chromebook just ain't powerful enough to use it. Every time I've tried to use the green screen effect on my Chromebook, it turns out like garbage. I mean, it turns out completely horrible. So I'm going to wait to really use this when I get a laptop, okay? And those are going to be the two things I get this year, a laptop and next-gen console. I will be honest with you, I am looking towards more of the PlayStation 5 console than I am Xbox, but either one could come up, okay? Either one. But yeah, like I'm going to start trying to do some massive upgrades this year. I'm hoping to get some little help. But yeah, I want to do some upgrades and really bring out my channel. But until I do, it's going to be mainly geek reports, and it's going to be mainly book reports and game reviews from my PS4 and that sort of thing. As for my book report, I'm going to have to put that on hold for a little bit because I plan on getting some new books soon. But I will come back to the Tom Clancy book I was reading. But yeah, I do plan on getting some new books soon. I'm currently playing Assassin's Creed Mirage. I am more than likely going to be doing a review of Assassin's Creed Mirage with some gameplay in it, just to kind of let you know what the game is all about, whether or not you should get it. And any other new games I get, I'm going to be doing reviews over. Yeah, that is what's going on with my channel. Slowly but surely, I'm making upgrades to give you guys better content and to be more confident in the content I do give you. So I just kind of wanted to talk about that before I ended this Geek Report. So that was your Geek Report for the week of January the 1st through the 8th, 2024. This is your first Geek Report of 2024. Now, just to kind of look back on what we talked about, in TV and movie news, we found out that Jonathan Majors has been fired as Kang the Conqueror in the MCU. A new Echo trailer canonizes the Netflix Daredevil series. John Wick, the director, wants to make a Star Wars film, and the Golden Globes premiered. And in gaming news, we found out that Bobby Kotick is out as Activision, and they brought in some new guy to take over Activision and Blizzard, and they're now taking over Call of Duty and Overwatch. And finally, in miscellaneous news, I talked about just some of the things I'm hoping to do with this channel. I hope y'all had a happy new year. I hope y'all stay safe and stay healthy. Check out my YouTube, my Odyssey, and my Rumble pages. Let me know what y'all think of my content. Let me know what improvements you would like to see me do. I will see y'all in the next video. Y'all take care of yourselves. Watch over each other. And I will see y'all in the next video and in the next stream. Laters.